The community is in pursuit of the truth, which unveils unsettling realities amidst a failed system. Why did Maddie Soto's mom protect the abuser and murderer of her daughter? Why did Jen not tell the police about Stefan's anger and triggers, which likely contributed to the taking of Maddie's life?
Again, we just have a deep desire to learn the truth, and we'll share it with everybody when we do, because obviously there's a lot of unanswered questions. When this happened, and part of the reason we never spoke up and came out and just ignored everybody is that the story wasn't about us. It was about Stefan and Jen and Maddie.
Yeah.
This wasn't about us. And there was no reason for us because we didn't have any information. We were blindsided by this, and it's been a very interesting journey to witness all the backlash. And it's unfortunate people never knew us before this because we're a couple of wild and crazy guys.
Right.
And we have a lot of fun poking fun at each other, and I laugh at myself a lot. There's an expression that I use, and forgive me, Debbie, for saying this, but there's an expression I use that if something goes wrong, you've pulled a Debbie. And this all emanated from when we lived in Georgia, and Debbie was out in the front yard. And she was weeding, and she was weeding and throwing rocks out of the flower bed. And it was a Saturday morning, and she threw a rock. And then when she released it, she goes, "Oh, you don't think that was a good idea?" She turned around and watched it sail across the yard and hit the back. We had an Audi station wagon, hit the back window and shattered the back window.
Oh, no.
And, garage is full. There was no place to put it. And so I had to make arrangements to take it over to the Audi dealer on Saturday. But I kept that rock, and I put it up on the mantle. So people would come over. It's just an ordinary rock.
Right.
But people come over and go, "What's with that rock?" That's an $800 rock. It's very special. And I would share with everybody Debbie's moment. I also have another terminology for her because she's blonde, and when she has a brilliant idea, and when the story behind blondes,
Right.
I always say, "Oh, Debbie had a blondegenuity moment," and so we have a lot of fun poking at each other, and sometimes I will come in and confess, "Hey, I did a Debbie." And I screwed up in some way. But we have a lot of fun in spite of all the turmoil that's going on. We kept our sanity, and we've kept our focus. We now have almost 100% closure on this. We're not quite there, but we're a lot further along than where we were. So,
right.
We're good. We're getting along.
Good. Somebody's asking about that, and I'm not even gonna, because we talked about it. What he meant. I didn't start it. So we already kind of talked about that. He was either victim blaming or maybe Jen. We don't know.
Yeah. Well, and see, that really threw us off.
Yeah.
Because that was very early in the conversations. I didn't start it. Well, that immediately led me to believe, well, who else is involved in this? Oh, there's a big criminal enterprise.
Yep.
Everybody wanted to tie him or associate him with
Santa
Claus character,
Yep.
That was going on was all coincidental. And I said, "Oh my God, this thing is, a huge conspiracy of sorts, and then at the end of the day, the air's out of the balloon. It's just him.
Right.
We're left with him.
Yeah. And I think he threw.
I want my money back.
Hey,
I paid for a full-length feature, and I end up with a dud.
That's what everybody else feels like too. I mean, I did read a lot of the messages that he sent back, and he did tell you, in all fairness, don't expect some, climactic story or some great conspiracy. So I think that's what he was trying to tell you then. I mean, you read the messages too, between you and Deb, and I saw him say that a few times.
Yeah. And the attorneys get upset. You're going to mess up my defense. And you go, boy, if that's your defense, I'm sorry. Maybe I could have helped it.
Right. He should have just
and again, I don't know why they just didn't get him in front of the police right away to tell the story. Was he not being honest and open with them? Again, stupid as a stupid does, thinking he's going to outsmart somebody.
Well, you saw the interview where he was sleeping a whole bunch for hours, and then they came in and he, oh, I got pictures on my phone from Disney and swim, whatever, right? So he didn't realize that, and I think that's how cooperative was. After that, he said, "Do I need a lawyer?" And that was it.
Oh yeah, when I've always told him, I said, if I have to ask you the question, I already know the answer, so just tell me.
Yeah.
Don't make me fish it out of you. Yeah. And they finally started revealing more. And then at that moment, he finally said, well, do I need an attorney? No, what you needed was a reset on your brain and open up and tell them what happened. It's too bad you can't rewind this and go back to that day. And he takes that advice and opens up. Where would he be today? The conversation would be a lot different. The ending would be possibly a lot different. I don't know, but I got to believe it would. Again, if you're going to be open with the police, that goes a long way. If you're going to be uncooperative and tight-lipped about it, that's not going to go anywhere.
Right.
And you forced me to do my job, and you forced me to go out and find this stuff, and you forced me, meaning me, Dad, to be as cooperative and as helpful as possible, because that's the right thing to do. And I'm not going to be complicit in covering up anything that you did because you're a dumbass.
Right. I mean, and you didn't. And
nope.
People were asking too about anything that the police took that were yours is now gone, right? You're never getting back your car. You're never getting back the 9mm. I don't know if that was his or whose, but.
Well, I wouldn't want the car back.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah.
It's soiled and tainted, and I certainly don't. What am I going to do with it?
Right.
The gun. Look, probably everything Stefan owns is mine because I paid for it in one form, fashion, or another. So
right.
I would say it would be mine.
Right.
We found his watch, by the way.
Which one? The Rolex thing or the?
Oh, no, he never had a Rolex.
Okay, not a Rolex. The Mega.
And I told him, I said, "What you buying a Mega for? That's stupid." But he did. And he described where it was in his bedroom, which I already knew wasn't. And but here's what baffles me. It was in my storage unit in the very back. Now, let's think about that for a second.
Okay.
He comes home at the beginning of December, and then he gets arrested in end of February. Sometime between now and then, or that time of when he came home and when he got arrested, somehow he got access to the storage room. Because let me tell you something. He had to pull things out of that storage room to put it where that was located. It was in the very back, buried under some stuff. And he kept describing it being in some container in his bedroom in a box or something, but it was really in that storage room in an unlikely place. There's no way I could figure out how he could get in there. Now, I've been missing a set of keys to that storage unit, or maybe he just went out late at night and knew where I kept him in my car and went over there and got into it, and there would have been some record of it.
Right.
But I wouldn't have been searching the records. The police did when he went down there that what was it, the 28th?
Right.
That early morning of the 28th. They wanted access to it. And I said, sure, have at it. And they didn't find anything. But then when I went to clear it out, that's when I found his Omega. Right. And we sold it. Because I figured, all the money he had stolen from us and all the money they cost us, it was mine.
Right.
I was keeping the watch.
Right.
I didn't want to keep it, but it wasn't worth anything. I only got $1,500 for it. If for the Rolex, he would have got 2 or 3 times more of that. Which,
right.
Told him not to get the Omega. You're going to spend that kind of money. First of all, I said, what are you spending that kind of money on a watch for? He spent $7,000 on that watch from his inheritance money.
Yeah. I don't even know why would he want that?
BMOC, big man on campus.
Yeah. That's working at Disneyland just a little bit and just, so.
You want to see my thing? Here's my watch. You want to see my bling? Here's my bling.
No more bling.
He looked like he could afford to wear a $7,000 watch.
Yeah, no, he pretty much wore those the khaki pants and just like a plain T-shirt every day. It didn't go with that, but
Yeah. Yeah. Well, listen, if I can offer a piece of advice as a public service announcement.
Yes, please.
Get an Apple Watch or get a watch to measure your health, because I can tell you we know people that have experienced alerts, multiple alerts, and the doctors have poo-pooed it. Oh, no, it's nothing. Well, I can tell you, for a 44-year-old man experienced 3 incidents like that, and finally he convinced them to go in and do a more investigative search. And they started with a catheter up his arm, and got up there and quickly whipped it out and took him into another room and put in 3 stents.
Wow.
He had 3 clogged arteries, and so we went from poo-poo to putting 3 stents in. I had a situation where I was having an AFib situation, never experienced that before, and I had one back in December too. All of a sudden, my heart's racing at 160 beats per minute. I go, what the F is going on here? They changed some medications on me, but I wouldn't know that. I mean, I felt fine, felt a little kind of odd.
Right.
But I would say I look at the number of people that are out there wearing Apple Watches and Galaxy Watches and what have you.
Right.
But I would highly suggest, forget the Rolex. I sold mine, and I wear an Apple Watch, and I use it strictly for health reasons. I have to monitor my glucose sugar, so I wear a sensor, and it's paired with my watch, or my watch in my phone, constantly monitoring it. You know, I went on a diet last March, lost 70 pounds, and I watch my weight every day. I eat about 1,000 calories a day. I'm not hungry. But I'm very strict on my diet. But I would highly recommend to everybody, if you've been thinking about it, pull the trigger.